Well, happy Monday. It is June the 5th. I'm meteorologist Kelly Sonnenburg. Thanks for tuning into the Weather Network. Developing stories we're working on here. Active week ahead in the east. Yeah, still unsettled across the Great Lakes and into southern portions of Quebec. We'll break down how much rain is in the forecast. And through the west, we're dealing with summer sizzle. Triggering storms. Yeah, temperatures in through the low 30s today, yet again across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And a long-range outlook. There is some active weather ahead into next weekend. We'll break that down. Starting out, though, across Alberta, a soggy start to the morning across central and southern portions of the province. Meanwhile, British Columbia, a sunnier start to the day, and that's going to remain in place over the next couple days. We do have an upper level trough in place, and this is actually what triggered thunderstorms yesterday on Sunday afternoon and evening across Alberta. You can see quite a bit of mid to upper level energy in place, and that's going to continue to shift further east. So we will see the risk for thunderstorms across Saskatchewan today. We also do have very warm temperatures at the surface. So cold air aloft moving in out of the northwest. Meanwhile, down at the surface, strong southerly flow, temperatures bumping up to the low 30s yet again for areas like Regina, Winnipeg as well. So of course, we do have the risk for thunderstorms in place across southern portions of Alberta. A little bit more of a strong southerly flow at the surface. The same goes for areas like Regina into Brandon and Winnipeg. Isolated severe. We may see some stronger, potentially damaging winds with these thunderstorms. Now, rainfall, we do have rainfall warnings in place for northern portions of Saskatchewan. Anywhere from 40 to 50 millimeters. Keep in mind, if we do see those thunderstorms, we could be dealing with locally heavier amounts. So if you do see these thunderstorms this afternoon, again, if it is safe to do so, please send me your photos and videos evening and especially into Tuesday as well. You can see sun and cloud across the board, across the Maritimes. There is high pressure moving in from the north, and that's going to help block. You can see this system just off the coast. That's going to stay off the coast. And we'll see lots of sunshine in place across the Maritimes and into Newfoundland. How much rain are we looking at? Well, anywhere from about 5 to 10 millimeters across the Avalon. That's what we can expect throughout the day today. To the west, areas like Corner Brook over towards the north coast. That's where it's likely going to be drier for today. Now, we do have the non-severe risk for thunderstorms, especially up towards central portions of Ontario. The GTA, we did see a few embedded thunderstorms earlier this morning. Our own Chris Murphy drove through a pretty heavy thunderstorm around 4 a.m. And we're going to start to see those taper off. But the bulk of that rain is going to be in place across eastern Ontario and into southern Quebec, anywhere from 20 to 40 millimeters. Welcome back to the Weather Network. I'm meteorologist Kelly Sonnenburg. Taking a look at our satellite and radar to start off the work week. A wet start to the morning across Alberta and into Saskatchewan. Rainfall warnings are in place across northern portions of Saskatchewan. Meanwhile, an area of low pressure still continues to bring in active weather across the southern and eastern Great Lakes into southern portions of Quebec as well. And with this low pressure in place, we do have the risk for a little bit of energy, maybe to see a few embedded thunderstorms, nothing too widespread at all, really, as we head through the afternoon and evening. This low pressure system is going to be tracking a little bit further to the south and east, but we still do have some lingering energy up towards areas like Sudbury, North Bay, so we may see a few embedded thunderstorms, nothing severe in nature. Across Atlantic Canada, we do have high pressure in place. This one area of low pressure system is going to track off to the coast. We've got high pressure sinking in from the north, and we've got lots of sunshine in the forecast over the next couple days. But unfortunately, the same cannot be said across southern and eastern Ontario, down towards the south, Ottawa, Montreal, 20 to 40 millimeters in the forecast. And have you ever wondered, when it's raining, it kind of has a bit of a smell to it? Here's the science behind that. And now you know why rain smells. And, you know, residents in northern Saskatchewan are probably smelling that as well, because 40 to 70 millimeters of rain is in your forecast. Down towards the south, though, temperatures in the low 30s. Okay, it's time to share your weather. Okay, we're going to start you off with this gorgeous shot of a rainbow in Sarnia, Ontario. We saw some thunderstorms roll through the area earlier on Sunday afternoon. Welcome back to the Weather Network. I'm meteorologist Kelly Sonnenburg. Developing stories we're working on here. Starting out in the east, active week ahead. Yeah, more wet weather on the way to areas like Montreal, Ottawa. We'll let you know how much rain is in the forecast. Meanwhile, in the west, summer sizzle triggers thunderstorms. Once again, we saw thunderstorms across southern Alberta on Sunday. That risk is there once again. And a long-range outlook, coast to coast, will let you know who's expected to see some potentially potent lows into the weekend. But first, I want to take you outside to Manitoba portions of the prairies. This is what our radar looked like earlier this morning. Quite a bit of rain filling in across Edmonton, down towards Red Deer, Calgary as well, Lethbridge. That rain's going to shift further east through the day. This is a look at the upper level energy. So you can see our trough in place. That's going to slowly slide further east. With that upper level energy in place, it helps to really trigger and fire off those thunderstorms, especially through the afternoon and evening. So you've got a surface low in place and then again an upper level trough. And those two systems will really help to develop those thunderstorms. Strong southerly flow temperatures for Regina, Brandon, Winnipeg in through the low 30s through the afternoon and evening today. Isolated severe, damaging winds would be our primary threat with these storms. Now across northern portions of Saskatchewan, significant rain, 40 to 50 millimeters. And again, if you see this active weather, please connect with me on social media. Atlantic Canada, where that wet weather is finally starting to come to an end. Newfoundland, the Avalon, that wet weather will continue through the afternoon and evening. It'll start to taper off. High pressure in place across the Maritimes. We're really only looking at about 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. Unfortunately, areas that don't need the rain, we're looking at areas like Ottawa, Montreal. We've got some localized flooding along Lake Ontario, and that's exactly where Emily Vukovic was this morning. Thanks for that, Emily. Now, a quick look at our thunderstorm risk map for this afternoon. Isolated thunderstorms down through the GTA, more likely across central portions of Ontario through the afternoon. And the risk for thunderstorms through the afternoon and evening. This is a look at our energy that we usually look to see that could maybe spark off thunderstorms. So it's a little bit more pronounced up towards areas like Sudbury, North Bay, Timmins. We could see a few non-severe thunderstorms. Down towards the south, just a little bit of energy there. So while we may see some isolated showers, a few rumbles of thunder cannot be completely ruled out. Meanwhile, Newfoundland starting to dry out through the day. Finally, we've got high pressure in place across the Maritimes. The same, unfortunately, cannot be said across eastern Ontario, southern Quebec, Ottawa, Montreal. More rain on the way, anywhere from 20 to 40 millimeters of rain. And this is all due to the same low pressure system that brought in those thunderstorms around the GTA early this morning. Now, we have the risk for thunderstorms once again across the prairies today. On Sunday, it was across Alberta. Today, Saskatchewan and Manitoba is in line for the fire. And Chris Murphy is going to break down all of those details right now on the storm potential. Tuesday and into Wednesday, but things start to take a bit of a turn as we head into Thursday. A new system moves in, brings in some wet weather, 20 to 30 mils in the forecast for Vancouver. So stay tuned for that. Forecast conditions, though, across western portions of our country this afternoon. Calgary, some isolated showers. Regina, Winnipeg, Brandon, we're going to be keeping an eye on you for the risk for thunderstorms through the afternoon. Take a look at that heat, though. Temperatures in through the low 30s. This is our trigger for our thunderstorms today, right along that front, in across Regina, Brandon, right along the Saskatchewan Manitoba border is where we do have the risk for seeing thunderstorms. We're also seeing rain across northern portions of Saskatchewan, and Environment Canada has issued rainfall warnings for that. I'll show you just how much rain is in the forecast there. Isolated severe down towards the south. Damaging winds would be our primary threat with these thunderstorms that do develop a little bit more linear in nature. And there's that rainfall, 40 to 50 plus millimeters of rain. And northern Saskatchewan, not the only area seeing rain. Southern portions of Ontario, areas that have been experiencing localized flooding all along the shores of Lake Ontario. And that's exactly where Emily was this morning. Thanks for that update, Emily. Yeah, you can see the Toronto forecast, rain still in there. And especially for Ottawa, Montreal, 20 to 40 millimeters is in your forecast over the next 24 hours. Newfoundland, rain starts to move out through the afternoon and evening. Meanwhile, the Maritimes will see a fairly sunny start to the work week. We do have the risk for thunderstorms in across the greater Toronto area, non-severe. We actually woke up to a few thunderstorms early this morning. It probably woke you up. Sudbury up towards North Bay, we will likely see some non-severe thunderstorms through the afternoon. This is a look at our future radar. So you can see that counterclockwise spin bringing in some rain and a few embedded thunderstorms across central Ontario. Meanwhile, the bulk of that rain with that southeasterly flow really going to be in place across Ontario and into southern portions of Quebec. This is overall our atmospheric setup as we head into the next couple days. Time now to take a look at a long-range forecast, and we're going to start out midweek, where across the country you can see overall not a lot happening. With the exception of southeastern Manitoba and northwestern Ontario, a weak low bringing in some showers. High pressure is our dominant weather story by midweek. That is going to change, though, as we head into the weekend on either coast of our country, starting out in the west, where a broad upper level trough is going to move into British Columbia and Alberta as we finish off the week. So Friday into Saturday, this is a look at our upper level energy, and as you can see, strengthens into an upper level low. And when we see all of that energy in the upper levels, we know a surface feature or a surface low is likely to follow. So as we head into Thursday, rain's going to be moving into the British Columbia coast, Vancouver, the lower mainland, 20 to 30 millimeters of rain. And as we finish off the work week Friday and then into the weekend Saturday, widespread rain fills in across the prairies. Although we'll have to keep an eye on how far south that rain fills in. Areas across southern Saskatchewan really does need the rain, so we'll keep an eye on this system, but likely going to be bringing in some stronger winds, significant precipitation, and then ultimately a temperature pattern change into next week. Now across eastern portions of our country, again, mid to late week, fairly quiet, but we've got a low pressure system tracking up from the Gulf and across the Atlantic. That's going to move into Atlantic Canada for Friday into Saturday. Now, how strong does this low become? We'll have to keep an eye on this, but we'll likely be bringing in some winds and rain to end off the week and into the weekend for Atlantic Canada. Now, we've got a precipitation change into the week. We also have a temperature change. This is our overall pattern this week. As you can still see, that warmth in places across Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and feeling like the low 30s. Meanwhile, the east coolish. That is changing, though, into next week. You can see trough develops across Western Canada, Eastern Canada, finally getting into that warmth. And as you can see, temperatures by the start of next week are going to be feeling like the high 20s.